When I was 14, I planned my wedding.
This one's wife. Harry, contact your dad. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. As you are aware, this one's wife's father, Thomas Markle Sr., is currently seriously ill in a hospital in the Philippines. This one's wife continues to have nothing to do with him, having disengaged from him 7 years ago. I have explained separately why she disengaged from him and why she continues to maintain to have nothing to do with him. Nevertheless, there is a suggestion that somebody is encouraging her to contact her father. Now, if she were to do so, her supporters would say, "See, this shows what a generous and gracious individual she is. Notwithstanding the fact that her father hurt her, she has shown that she is a decent person by contacting him." Other people, who may not fully understand what she is, will say, well, it's taken her long enough to do so, but at least she has done so now, and that's good. Let's hope that they can rebuild their relationship, and will look upon that act as favourable. Others would maintain their cynicism, stating, you're only getting in contact with him now as a consequence of public pressure, or that you want to manage the way that it looks, and we're not fooled by this. Just because you've done it now, it's way too late, and it's meaningless. Might those be some considerations that are going through the mind of the individual that is purportedly encouraging her to get in contact with her father? Well, according to Mahira Bonner, who writes in the Cosmopolitan, which comes from the stable of pro-Sussex publications, it's Prince Harry who is encouraging this one's wife to reach out to her father amid health crisis. She writes, this one's wife's estranged father, Thomas Markle, is reportedly in the ICU following an emergency surgery, and apparently Prince Harry is encouraging this one's wife to reach out. A source tells Rob Shooter's Shooter Scoop that Harry knows estrangement. He made peace with his dad. Now he wants this one's wife to have the same chance. He's been saying, don't wait, do it now. Apparently Harry's encouragement is soft, compassionate, and very much a lead-by-example moment. As another insider notes, he's showing this one's wife what reconciliation looks like, and he hopes she takes it. The article then just reports about the Daily Mail bringing news of his hospitalisation, and then explaining that they've been estranged since the royal wedding, and she explained, this one's wife, that it was hard for her to reconcile his lies about staging pat pics. I said, I just need you to tell me, and if you tell me the truth, we can help. And he wasn't able to do that, she told Oprah. That, for me, has really resonated, especially now as a mother. I look at Archie, I think about this child on the way, and I genuinely can't imagine doing anything to intentionally cause pain to my child. I can't imagine it, so it's hard for me to reconcile that. Now, we all know that when she said those things, it was a revision of history, telling porcupines, and a pity play. But according to this Cosmopolitan article, which quotes Rob Shooter's Shooter Scoop, which then says it comes from a source, Harry is the one that is saying to this one's wife, do it. Don't wait. Do it now. Contact your father. I've made peace with my father. You should do the same. Well, I've just checked my bullshitometer, and it's doing this. Bullshit. Bullshit. There is absolutely no way that the Prince of Pink Pancakes is encouraging this one's wife to contact her father. Here's why. First of all, Harry has not achieved any form of reconciliation with his father. He has gone there, like the fantapubed idiot that he is, making demands, and was given short shrift on 2 occasions with 2 very short audiences. That is not making peace. That is not an audience. If peace had been made, there would be much more regular contact between the two and a declared improvement in relations. There has not been. There has been no reconciliation. So that suggestion in the article is a load of baloney. Secondly, Harry's too busy arsing around, testing out his new comedy actor career, to be bothered about telling this one's wife she ought to get in touch with her father. The self-absorbed Ginge has been arsing around in New York City with Stephen Colbert. That's what's been preoccupating his tiny mind. After all, its processing power is pretty limited, and all it can do is concentrate on him learning his lines, in order to make an appearance, and then there's no room for anything else. Furthermore, he is on board with the concept that Thomas Markle is a bad thing. You must not underestimate the fact that since his wife is a narcissist, there will be repeated occasions where Thomas Markle pops up on her radar. Father's Day, for example. References to him in the press. Social media observations about it. Occasions such as his birthday, Christmas, Thanksgiving and so forth. His name will repeatedly pop up, and that means that he comes on this one's wife's radar. Her narcissism subconsciously asks, is your father, who is a non-intimate secondary source in the fuel matrix, under control? We don't know, because we don't have anything to do with him. Therefore it is assumed he is not under control. Accordingly, the narcissism must gain that control. Her narcissism does not encourage her to do so by way of a hoover. It determines that is not appropriate, and thus it then moves her to the second assertion of control, which is smearing or triangulation. Accordingly, what she will do is she will make some remark about her father. For instance, Harry might ask, on Father's Day, what would you usually do for your dad on Father's Day? She might explain about how she would make him a gift, and then move on to say, but of course, he doesn't deserve that now after what he did to me, if you remember. Or she will provide another example of the supposed mistreatment that he engaged in towards her, some form of abuse. Thus, each time Thomas Markle comes up on this one's wife's radar, and intermittently he will do so, her narcissism needs to bring him under control. She doesn't do so directly through a hoover. She will repeatedly do so by smearing him, and the person she is most likely to smear him to is Harry. This means that Harry repeatedly hears her talk about how her father is a bad man, and this is quite typical of a third party, that invariably, rather than think, well, I'd like to hear the other party's side of the story, they just accept what the narcissist tells them. And don't forget, Harry will have had years of her intermittently reinforcing this image of her father. Thus, he also will have had a view that's been solidified over time and the repeated dripping of the poison in his ear that Thomas Markle Sr. is a bad person and not to be bothered with. Once again, you see, by understanding the nature of the narcissistic dynamic and the needs of the narcissist for control and how that is done, you learn a particular factor which means that Harry isn't going to be suggesting to her that she ought to reach out to her father. A further reason why he won't be doing it is that in the past I suspect that he might have suggested it and he's been royally slapped down. His suggestion amounts to a threat to control because he's telling her to do something, no matter how gently he puts it. Because that offends her need for control, she must nullify this threat to control and tell Harry no, and then perhaps will burst into tears or fall to the floor sobbing about the supposed abuse that she suffered from her father. Or she will react angrily, chastising Harry so that he has learnt better to keep your mouth shut and not bring up this subject. Accordingly, I do not believe for a moment that Harry's been attempting to do this. It might be an attempt by the Sussex camp to deflect from criticism about her failure to get in contact with her father, or it might just be some bunkum that's been made up by somebody in order to get clicks. But by applying the understanding of her narcissism and the dynamic with Harry, we can reach the firm conclusion that she will have not been subjected to Harry suggesting that she contact her father. I'm HG Tudor. Thank you for listening.